What happens when elected officials walk out and protest? Because the mayor defies her own attorney. That's exactly what unfolded during a chaotic township meeting in Thornton, Illinois. Tiffany Henyard, the self-declared supermayor, returned to the boardroom after a months-long absence and immediately ignited another controversy. In just 8 minutes, she shut down her legal counsel, blocked a trustee from joining via Zoom, and triggered a dramatic walkout by 2 board members. One of them said flat out, "I'm just not going to be a part of it anymore." Here's the kicker: the trustee she silenced had a valid excuse childcare the township attorney confirmed. She had every legal right to join remotely. But Henyard didn't care. She overruled the law, dismissed her own attorney's interpretation, and moved forward like nothing was wrong. It begs the question, what is Tiffany Henyard so afraid of that she won't even let her own board members speak? This wasn't just a failed meeting, it was a full-blown power play. And if you think this was an isolated incident, think again. Because what's happening in Thornton Township has been building for months and the cracks are only getting wider. After weeks of silence and absence, following a public brawl in January, Tiffany Henyard finally returned to the Thornton Township Board of Trustees meeting on March 11. Residents expected progress. The agenda was packed, the issues urgent, and after multiple canceled or unattended meetings, the community hoped for some sense of normalcy instead. What they got was a masterclass in dysfunction. The meeting started 20 minutes late. No surprise there, but what followed was an unraveling of local government in real time. In just 8 minutes less time than it takes to order takeout, 2 trustees walked out. The attorney was ignored, and the agenda was abandoned. Happened inside those 8 minutes. Told the real story right out the gate. Trustee Carmen Carlisle motioned to allow fellow trustee Stephanie Weidman to attend virtually via Zoom. Weidman had childcare issues, something clearly listed as a valid reason under the board's rules, and the Illinois Open Meetings Act. She was present in the virtual meeting window, waiting to participate. Then, Henyard stepped in. She dismissed the motion without consideration, claiming that childcare wasn't a good enough excuse. Worse, she tried to push forward with the meeting, ignoring calls to wait for the township attorney, who was momentarily dealing with audio issues. When the attorney did chime in, confirming Weidman's attendance was legally allowed, Henyard simply overruled her. No explanation, just no. With a 2-to-1 vote, the motion failed. Trustee Gonzalez challenged her decision, demanding clarity. Carlisle had heard enough. She made a motion to adjourn. Gonzalez seconded. Then both walked out 8 minutes. No business done, no transparency, no accountability, only chaos again with Tiffany Henyard at the center of it all. And this was just the beginning. The chaos didn't begin with shouting or scandal, it began with a silent screen. Trustee Stephanie Weidman wasn't in the room, but she was present. Her name appeared clearly on the township meeting's video feed, ready to participate via Zoom. Her reason for remote attendance, childcare, something specifically allowed under the Illinois Open Meetings Act. Carlisle made the motion to let Weidman join virtually. Simple, procedural, legal. But Tiffany Henyard had other plans, without hesitation. Henyard dismissed Weidman's request. She claimed childcare wasn't a valid excuse even, though it was. And even though the township's own attorney, Tiffany Nelson-Jaworski, later confirmed it on record. "I do believe she has a valid reason under the Open Meetings Act," the attorney said plainly. The law even outlines childcare, illness, and work conflicts as legitimate grounds for remote attendance. Still, Henyard refused. She overruled her attorney and said, no casting the single vote that killed the motion. When pressed for justification, she didn't offer one. No legal basis, no policy clarification, just silence and defiance. It was a quiet power move, but one that spoke volumes. Because this wasn't about a technicality. This was about control, about silencing dissent, about deciding who gets a voice and who doesn't. Why deny someone their legal right to attend a meeting? Why go against your own legal counsel on something so black and white? It wasn't about childcare. It was about power. And the message to the rest of the board was clear. If you're not physically in the room or on Henyard's side, you don't get to speak. The walkout that followed wasn't just about Zoom access. It was a protest against a supervisor who bends rules, blocks participation, and silences accountability. all while pretending to run a functioning government. The room was tense, but it wasn't until Gonzalez and Carlyle pushed back that the meeting truly unraveled as Henyard tried to bulldoze ahead with the agenda. Gonzalez reminded her firmly that she herself had missed multiple recent meetings. "We've waited for you plenty of times," he said, a subtle jab at Henyard's prolonged absence following the January brawl. Meanwhile, the technical issues that had prevented the attorney from speaking were resolved. Tiffany Jaworski, now clearly heard by everyone, confirmed what everyone already suspected. Trustee Weidman had every legal right to attend remotely due to childcare. The board had added that exception within the past year. Henyard knew that, but still, Henyard said no. With 2 yes votes from Gonzalez and Carlyle, and Henyard casting the single no, the motion failed. Not because it lacked legal ground, but because it lacked her approval. Why deny a trustee's right to participate? Why challenge a legal opinion rooted in black and white policy? Was this a flex of authority, or a desperate attempt to keep certain voices out of the conversation? That's when the meeting took its final turn. Carlyle had seen enough. "I'm just not going to be a part of it anymore," she said. She motioned to adjourn. Gonzalez seconded. And just like that, within 8 minutes of the delayed start, they stood up and walked out. No shouting, no theatrics, just resignation of the worst kind. Outside the building, Gonzalez made the message crystal clear. If she wants to go against the attorney and her interpreting the law, we're not going. To have a good meeting? We're not going to get any business done. Carlyle echoed the sentiment. We're not going to waste residents' time in a township already drowning in lawsuits, FOIA violations, and financial opacity. This wasn't just a failed meeting, it was a breaking point. A public, undeniable signal that trust in Tiffany Henyard's leadership had fractured even further. And for some trustees, the only move left was out the door. At first glance, this might seem like a one-off meltdown, a chaotic meeting gone off the rails. But if you've been following Tiffany Henyard's tenure, you know this isn't new. It's part of a much larger, more troubling pattern. From day one, Henyard has shown a willingness to bend the rules or simply ignore them, whether it's blocking board members from participating, shutting out the press, or denying residents entry to public meetings. The pattern is clear. Dissent isn't tolerated, transparency isn't welcomed, and the law is optional. The Illinois Open Meetings Act violated repeatedly, FOIA requests ignored, delayed, or outright denied, financial documents hidden, meetings locked. The contempt charges Henyard faces for refusing to hand over records didn't come out of nowhere. They came after months not years of dodging accountability. And let's not forget, there's still a federal investigation underway. Her refusal to testify in a civil lawsuit tied to these issues, pleading the fifth, isn't just a legal strategy, it adds another brick to the wall of secrecy been building since she dubbed herself the supermayor. When a public official silences those who question them, rewrites meeting procedures in real time, and disregards legal advice from their own attorneys, that's not leadership, that's control. This isn't just about one meeting or one motion. It's about a township watching its democratic processes get stripped for parts. Residents aren't just frustrated, they're alarmed, and rightly. So take a step back and look at the full picture. A mayor who blocks voices, breaks rules, and still clings to power. Is this what unchecked power looks like? Because if it is, the cost isn't just political, it's a betrayal of every person who thought their vote meant something. So let's recap what just happened in Thornton Township. Tiffany Henyard returned to the boardroom for the first time. Since a public brawl, there was a packed agenda and an opportunity to finally move forward. Instead, 8 minutes of dysfunction, a trustee asked to join via Zoom. Due to childcare, something explicitly allowed under the Open Meetings Act, the township attorney confirmed it was legal. But Henyard said no. She dismissed the attorney's opinion, blocked a trustee's right to attend, and tried to bulldoze the meeting forward anyway. Then came the walkout. Trustees Gonzalez and Carlyle had seen enough. They weren't willing to waste time or legitimize what felt like a sham proceeding, so they adjourned the meeting themselves and walked out. This wasn't just about a Zoom call. It was about power, legality, and a disturbing pattern of behavior. When leaders pick and choose which laws to follow, override legal advice, and silence elected colleagues, democracy breaks down. And let's be honest, This isn't new. From FOIA denials to secret budgets and contempt fines, Henyard has been testing the limits of power for months. But now, that power seems more brazen than ever. When elected leaders start treating rules as optional, what recourse do the people really have? That question isn't rhetorical. It's one every resident, voter, and taxpayer in Thornton Township, band beyond needs to ask.